Hello chess friends, and welcome to Azarov's chess channel and to my advanced chess theory and another part of the King's Indian defense today against the Saemisch attack. So why I'm showing you so much Saemisch variations? Well, it's in every variation it's a different type of game. So today I wanted to show you the flexibility of White's play, and if you don't react well against sort of a setup, you will we will get crushed very easily. So what's the difference today? Today I wanted to show you a variation with this early d5. So it's an early closure in the center. So it's a different type of play and gives White a more flexible attacking chances. So you should know how to handle these types of attacks. So let's see the difference today. Again, we have d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight on c3, bishop to g7, e4, d6, f3, castling, bishop to e3, e5, and now this early d5. So White isn't delaying in the center and has two attacking possibilities here. So he has this early g4 and attack sort of a similar to the Yugoslav attack with queen to d2, and simply attack on the king side with this h4, h5, maybe trading bishops on h6 and mating threats. So what happens if you play such move as a5? Then your opponent plays g4, and you play maybe something like h5, and you want to stop White's attack, and then he can play this move. Then he can play this move g5, and with this g5 move, it leaves him so much flexibility, because now you have to react with the knight. You play maybe a knight from f to d7, and in some variations I've seen, and multiple players have played against me, after a move like h4 and developing these pieces, White even castles on king side, but now he has sort of a blocking position here, and we don't go in our standard orthodox attacks like with f5, because it's not so possible anymore, because your opponent has fixed the king side, and he has standard chances to attack on this weakness on c5. So this is it happens often that when you get blocked out on the king side, that your opponent in the Saemisch attack castles king side too. So this leaves him enormous flexibility in his game. And after the move d5, I recommend you to play the move knight h5. So what's the idea behind this? Because now if your opponent plays g4, pardon me, you will play knight on f4, and if in any moment your opponent takes on f4, you will develop your bishop, and it will at least somehow open the position for you, and now I have maybe f5 possibilities. So this leaves you also flexibility in the game, maybe to weaken this pawn structure in the center with c6 and such ideas. So after knight h5, your opponent will probably play knight on queen to d2, and this is a game I wanted to show you. Between it was played in 2013 between Evgeny Postny and Vladislav Kachiev with the black pieces. But now you see, after queen to d2, White plays this move f5, but after castling, I don't recommend you to go here f4, because now you see your opponent has castled queen side, and if you close the position on the king side, you will it bring you nothing, because your attack will run into something that doesn't bother you. So this will still leave White in flexible attack on the on the king side to attack your king. And of course you have the c5 weakness, because you have to handle it, but it's not so flexible anymore if you play something like b6, because then you cannot play maybe c6 or something. So this is I recommend you here to leave the center a little bit, because if something takes f5, then you have again possibilities to open the position with moves as e4, and open this diagonal for your bishop. So that's what Tkachiev makes here very well. He plays simply flexible, as I've told you, but it's really now a different game that I've told you in my previous video, because you see now your opponent has castle queenside, and you should find a way how to attack him. So of course now Tkachiev simply develops his piece. Now comes bishop to d3, and now we see knight on c5, because in some variations white can take this knight on c5, but again you have this still flexible position in the center, and there are still possibilities for your bishop to be opened in this very good diagonal and attack, and you still have possibilities a6 and b5, and somehow open maybe the a file for the rook and create an attack. So let here white goes to c2 with the bishop with the c2, and now this bishop and knight control their each other, so no movement of the bishop is possible, but also in an endgame no movement of the knight would be possible forward on d3 or maybe b3. So now Tkachiev plays very flexible. He plays now this a6 move. Still he doesn't want to react here in the center. He leaves that like that, so he waits white to take, and of course this f5 is also preventing white to play g4. So of course he would take, and then this rook would be supporting this this f4 square, which would be very nice for black. So now white improves simply the position of the king, and now we have this b5. It's a pawn sacrifice, but you see in such lines it's allowed to give here a pawn, because you want to create some open lines, and here white wanted to somehow stop black's attack from the queen side, and now black reacted with knight on d7. So here we see white wants to create a blocking system on the queen side, but after the move c5, black opens the position with this very good move a5. So after c6, okay, black must react, and now he comes to f6 with this other knight. Of course no trapping so far is possible of this knight, because of course black controls this this g4 very well so far. And now we see what's white's idea here is he wants to somehow maybe leave this pawn here, so after a trade or something, and go with the king on maybe b2, so he wouldn't allow black to infiltrate with the rook somehow into the game. So now we see this after this trade, now black took on eventually on e4, but after taking, now comes this flexibility of black's position. He placed this knight on f4, and it's this after weakening this dark squares around the queen, around the king. Now he's not worried about losing a pawn here, because then it would be eventually it will eventually open this very strong bishop. So he isn't worried about losing here a pawn, because then the position gets really open, and that's that's a position that you want to play when you have your bishops, your pair of bishops. So now the other thing that here, of course, this pawn is attacked on d5, and now white wants to protect it with knight on c3, and now Tkachiev finds a very good move, rook to a3, and you see now this knight is the protector of this pawn, and if this pawn, if black gets rid of this pawn on d5, the position will be extremely open, and now after this g3, he simply he simply sacrificed the rook for the exchange, and now after taking, now comes knight on d5, taking with an attack on the queen. But you see now here this weakness of this c3 square, of course, with the preparations to play e4, and really opening. Again, I'm telling you, this is an important line for you to remember when you play on this opposite side in the Saemisch attack, to create somehow an open diagonal for your dark square bishop. It's really important, and here's not the problem because black is on down the exchange. It doesn't matter, the position will get so open, so white will be crushed very easily, and you'll see why. So now after taking, black took, and he thought that with the spin on the knight he could probably get a piece, but now black reacts with bishop to e6, and here white played queen to d3, and with the double attack on the knight. But now you see this e4 move. I've told it many times, because now the position, you see, gets really open for this dark square bishop, of course, with the preparation to play a queen to f6 and mating threats. And here white took, and here comes a very good move, knight on c3 with the check, and well, white took on c3 because multiple threats were here, and after the exchange of maybe something like king to c2, black would simply trade bishops and go with the queen into the game, because with this lack of development of pieces, white would be on losing side. So he took with the queen, and a couple of moves were played, but eventually after this move, that's where white resigned. So this is a setup I wanted to show you. It's important for you to know if this, after this e5, this d5. So after this move, knight on h5, f5 can be played. So you see, but I've seen games f4 was played and closed the position, but that's not what I want you to do. I want you to understand this type of positions, this flexibility of white's play, and try to create here an attack. So a6, b5 preparations you have to remember after queenside castle, so that gives you this open lines, and of course with this delaying to taking in the center, it can be a powerful weapon against sort of systems. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope you learned something from this particular video, and see you next time, guys. Chess is the best.